Hey guys, welcome to the Centre Bounce. As you know, I'm Joe, and last year I decided to take Supercoach a bit seriously, kept an open mind, and had no idea what I was going to encounter. I ended up finishing in the top 120. I'd learned some things along the way, and I'm going to share 10 of them with you today. Big J, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very good. Did you like my little rhyme?
Oh,
That
man, it was
I
pretty
ended
good.
up with there. That was beautiful. I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it.
Oh, I've heard that one before.
Yeah, that was a
Very
cliche.
Yeah.
So, just I suppose a quick thing. I've only played this game seriously once, and that was just last year. The year before, I was just playing simply for fun,
hmm
and I finished in the around in the 2000s the year before. But I just decided that I hadn't actually researched the players as much as I had last year. So I considered last year to be my first genuine foray into what it means to be a serious super coach, and I think it went pretty well, and went against what people had thought was conventional, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, I guess we can start right off the bat with lesson one, something that I thought was really important, and that was to do my best to really start as few rookies as possible at the beginning of the year. I just was unsure whether or not these rookies could be really relied upon to give me big scores. For my general, philosophy, the way I like to look things is whatever team it is, if it's football or in life and work, the weakest, you're only as strong as your weakest link, really. And there's always a way for your weakest link to be exploited and found out. And I just thought that it was clear that these rookies who were really unsure of, especially off the back of COVID, who really knows just how well these rookies are going to perform at senior level
hmm
amongst mature men. So I just thought if I could reduce my, I suppose, risk there, uh, I'd at least have no crappy scores on the field.
Yeah. I know it's a pretty good lesson. I got stuck with having the likes of Josh Ward or Connor McDonald or even Rochelle, these guys who were first year players scoring 30s. To kind of avoid those is a big thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping to avoid, and I'm glad I did. I didn't have the wards, for example, on the field, and it was a bit more mid-pricer, and it was only until I started to be involved with a bit more of the Supercoach community that they actually had a coin term called mid-price madness, and it really worked out for a lot of people last year. Um, but I suppose that sort of leads to my second tip was don't be disheartened if you have a slow start to the year. I know because I had picked a few mid prices that simply just didn't work out, and one that really comes to mind was Mitch McGovern, who really went down, with injury, and who just didn't have a flying start to the year. Someone that I was hoping, I thought he had a good role, and I thought that it would eventually play out to amount to something,
Mm.
but unfortunately it didn't. So I actually really started the year at around 10,500 rank, to then end up in the top 120. I thought was really good, and something that I'm quite proud of. So if you start slow, it's not a big deal. You can always rectify the situation.
Yeah, definitely. Those people who end up, I think there was a few people who were also like ranked 50K who ended up coming back and were at least top 500, top 300, that kind of thing. So, it's not panic stations after the first two rounds if you're struggling.
No, correct. And the reason for that is in tip three is that you can, have the confidence to be aggressive. Don't worry if it means that you are willing to burn through some trades, especially early. If it means correcting things, I used, come round five, I already used three boosts. So I was well and truly, being aggressive with my trading. I saw the boosts as something that was just a way to help facilitate me building towards a full primo team. And ultimately, that's what the whole point of the game is.
Mm.
You already get three trades during the buy rounds. I just thought saving all of them come the buy was a waste of this resource that I could use early on to pick out the really good mid prices that were eventually going to be keepers, like your Cornelios, your Brodies. These were people that people didn't expect to be keepers all year.
Yeah, definitely. And also grab those guys who are going to make a lot of money before the round 3 price rise as well.
Yeah, 100%. And that was something that I really wanted to do because I had the set and forget, and I had Grundy as my ruck, and I wasn't sure if he was going to be great. And that leads me to my fourth point. My fourth tip that I had picked up is don't be afraid to trade out underperforming primos
Mm-hmm.
if they've, especially if they've had a role change and they're no longer going to have the sort of output that you expected them to have. I know that it was really prevalent from the people that I was speaking to who had played the game for a lot. This general consensus of don't trade your primos, don't trade your primo. But for me, I personally found that look, I have a primo here because I expect them to be a top of their line. This is someone I want to keep because I want them to score me points. If this is a premium that is not going to do that for me, then it's a failed primo in my eyes. And I thought it was fine for me to trade them out. I moved from Grundy to English. I was torn. I wanted to go. If I had gone Grundy to Wits instead of English, I would have saved myself 3 trades and would have finished in the top 100. But it is what it is. Definitely moving on Grundy was the right play, I think.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people had Jack Crisp and they offloaded him pretty quick after the role change, after he started dropping in price, but also dropping some stinker scores. I know people did the same with Jack Steele as well, just before he got injured. Kind of these guys who you think they're going to be really good. Maybe they will be later on, but you don't want to lose out on the trade value by keeping them and they end up like 400K.
Yeah, that's right. Now, having said this, tip number 5, yes, you can trade out the under those failing primos. However, it's not recommended that you go down to a mid pricer, for example, for a quick cash grab. I made that mistake last year, and I did feel that I was really regretting that decision. I had Ridley, and I had gone Ridley down to Bowie. Bowie, who just seemed to be a quick crash grab. I can make money by dropping down to him and then making money when he goes up in price. But he didn't have that big score that we were hoping that he would have to really rocket in price. And I ended up really essentially going from having an extra primo to now having one less primo. And so I wasted the trade to get rid of a primo, and then I had to still use another trade down the track to bring another primo into their position. So it was a bit of a run around. Definitely, had I been in that position with hindsight, I would have definitely tried to sideways him to someone else and try to maintain a good number of premiums and not burn through trades faster.
Yeah, it always seems to be a better idea to sideways if you can to another player. So you really lock into that position on field. Same with me with Bowie. I had got rid of Whitfield. If I had sideways into a Sinclair or someone else, I would have been perfect. But ended up wasting 3 or 4 trades just to lock in that D5 position to a premium that I started with, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Sixth tip that I picked up along the way is keep an eye out for players who've had a role change. Don't simply disregard someone speaks on the grounds that they haven't been relevant in Supercoach before. You gotta take advantage of things that develop during the course of the season. And otherwise, a lot of people would not have picked Darcy Cameron, who was a great pickup for them. And we wouldn't have picked up the likes of Himmelberg, who was playing forward all the time. But then that move to the back line, we were able to get in just before he really rocketed in price. We got him on the cheap, and he gave us all of his amazing scores, and people had to pay up extra to get him into their team. So definitely keep an eye out for players that have had a role change and, be willing to take the bet on them if you're satisfied and confident that that role change will lead to points.
Yeah. I guess in previous years, we've always had, your Jack Zeebles who are forward and now they're playing defender. Your Impey who was the same. Aaron Hall as well, a couple of years ago, went from forward, mid-pricer to backwards primo available in the forward line. You really got to keep an eye out for these players. There will be some this year, and if you don't jump on them, you could be hurt, like the guys that didn't have Himmelberg in 2022.
That's exactly right. Now, pick seven, or tip number seven, well, is to aim to trade in players just before you expect them to go up in price again. This is, players fluctuate in price during the course of the season depending on their output, but it just seemed to happen that come round six or come around the buys, there are players that are really well priced or really underpriced. And these are players that you can then, I suppose, look forward and see whether or not for the rest of the season from when you trade them in, whether or not they're going to be top of their line. Yes, okay. Remember, you're trading in someone, yes, there might be a premium, but you're not going to get the scores that they had previously. You're getting them in for the scores that are to come. Someone starting a really expensive player will get all of the scores coming in. But if you're going to trade someone in around six, who might have not had the best start to the season, if they're really great for their price, have the confidence to jump on them because it's likely that this premium will again find some form or something will change and their price will rocket up again. So be opportunistic.
Yeah, the break evens is something that you really want to watch. As we spoke about in our Clayton Oliver video, these premiums who start, they're going to drop in price. Make sure that you grab them, the week that they're about to jump up, because when they've got that low break even, you're not going to want to have to spend out another trade, another rookie, another mid-pricer who had money there ready to go for a different upgrade to actually bring this guy in. I got burnt a couple of years ago with some extra players who I didn't grab them at their opportune time and had to spend, an extra 100K to bring this player in that 2 weeks ago was 100K cheaper. It can really hurt your cash gen and really hurt your team.
Yeah, 100%. And what sort of goes hand in hand with the next tip being to look ahead at the fixture when you're contemplating between a couple of players. Who they play will obviously play a major role in the sort of scoring that they're going to have, particularly if one of those teams has a tagging player that can negate someone. So you gotta. I know some people are really against paying a heavy mind to the fixture. Personally, I think paying attention to the fixture is a big deal. I don't want to trade someone in who is about to run into a tagger, pay a lot of money for them at their price when I could have traded someone else in who is not going to play against the tagger. That untagged player will score better, their price will go up, whereas the player that is getting tagged will most likely score worse and have their price drop, and then have that tagged score in their 3-round average, which will keep their break even high. So I think definitely look ahead at fixtures, especially if you're comparing between a couple of options.
Yeah, in 2022, we saw Jared Witts kind of have a Mickey Mouse run just before the buys. So guys who, weren't the number one rucks, teams that had ruckman injured, and he just went out bonkers and was popping 150s every week. Got to consider that kind of thing when you do your upgrade targets. But also guys like Oliver, who historically score really big against certain teams. I know his average at the moment is almost 200 against Adelaide. If he plays Adelaide once or twice, after his buy rounds or whatever, and you don't have him, it's really going to hurt your scoring and lose out on a good captain or vice captain option.
100%. And that's part of the reason why, I was really keen to get on Laird last year when as early as I could, especially for his price. And I saw his run home. It was sensational. So, and that was a great pick for me. Tip number 9, don't be afraid to fade or bet against a player that is really high, that has really high ownership, if you are absolutely sure that this pick is not going to be successful. Obviously, you can be protected by the herd with everybody going together. You are sort of, protected from the big scores because you're also having the big scores. But if they have a bad score, well, a lot of people also have that bad score. But why would you want to cop a lot of bad scores if you're confident that this person will, in fact, give you a lot of bad scores? Of course, there is safety in the pack, but the pack doesn't win 50K. Only one person can win the 50K. So you got to really back yourself, do your research. And, people who had Ward on the field definitely started a lot further back than those who didn't.
Yeah. There were a couple of options last year where this was really prevalent. The guys that started Tom Green, really low ownership, went out with a bang when I think he scored a 164 the first game. Similar to the people that had Laird, they were kind of hurt a little bit with Steele going down being the same price. Otherwise, he would have been a super pod. And the guys that had Callum Mills as well, when he went big, when he scored his 200, the 4 or 5% ownership players, they did fantastic those weeks.
Yeah. And a lot of, being able to pick these players come from this 10th and final pick, and that is to watch as many content creators as you can. I'm not saying when we don't want you to come here just for everything that you've got. No, we are in a larger community where there's everyone that has a lot of different views and have access to different information that they find to be very relevant. People like, and especially someone that I really used a lot and was really beneficial to me last year was DR with his weekly videos where he would discuss the break evens of players, who's on the way up, who's on the way down, and it just helps you to have a better understanding of what your team structure is like. Is this player ready to be cut, to be traded away down to a rookie, and then have someone else be upgraded? Or am I able to hold on to this person for a bit longer to get a bit more cash out of them? There's so much information out there, and the content creators are getting a lot better at their jobs, and we're doing all the research so that you don't have to, right, Big J?
Yeah, just like our slogan there. It's one of the things that I think kind of gives a leg up and a bit of a cheat code for these people who maybe you work full time, maybe you've got kids, maybe you've got a life. People say content creators don't, but we do all the hard work for you. Similar to high ownership players, you can kind of jump on the pack there. You can watch a 10-minute video that someone's put out through the season and say, yep, these are the 5 players who have the lowest break even. Hey, bring them into your team. This guy's injured. There's something to watch out for this, training reports, that kind of thing. Hey, 10 minutes of your time during the week is nothing. You can sit on the toilet and watch a video 5 minutes before you go to bed, but it can really save and help your seasons.
Absolutely. It just also, turns your mind to things that you might not have been aware of. And I know I can speak for us, and on our channel, it's going to be more than just the Supercoach channel. There will be a lot of just general football content as well. And the beauty of Supercoach is that it is directly linked to the football discussion. If you're able to have a better understanding of how matchups work going into a week, or have a prediction, for example, is this team going to tag? How do these players match up on each other? You can at least, have a better understanding of who can be a great VC option for you moving forward. So there is a lot of things out there, and we hope that you can, like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the things that not only we're putting out, but our fellow content creators on YouTube are also pumping out for you.
Yeah, 100%, guys. Got to jump on there, support the fam, and we'll support you guys with some amazing prizes like we do with our group. You guys can win a AFL jersey, any team you want, any number that you want. You want number 100, we'll do that for you, even for the extra price. We're giving away 2 tickets for a game for the AFL during the regular season next year, and also an AFL voucher as well. So these are the things that we're giving back to you for the support that you're giving to us.
Not only are we helping you with Supercoach, we're also giving you with great freebies as well. What's there not to love? More free things are excellent. Is excellent, Big J.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. I know it's a bit longer than the other ones, but it is a bit different. We are running down. We were running through 10 lessons that I learned last year, and hopefully these lessons can be of benefit to you this year. Stay tuned to the next video, guys.
Remember, guys, we do the hard work so you don't have to. Bye for now.